Hello, everyone, and yes, welcome to this brief, short release information webinar. Probably about 20 to 25 minutes, if that. I'm just going to walk through some of the significant parts of the release to share with you. But in terms of what the latest release has, it now supports printing in public places such as universities, libraries, co-working spaces for public users, which is great. The scan to email scan workflow has been improved significantly, enabling users to scan documents to any email address. Additionally, the customer support process has been enhanced, ensuring that customers always maintain control and access to the uniFLOW Online tenant from a support perspective. The previously added Canon generic plus driver can now be customized to meet specific device requirements per location. Furthermore, this release includes numerous other improvements, as we always do, to add more value to the product. So as always, all the necessary documentation, including release notes, presentations, press releases, subscription, all the stuff that you know and love is readily available on the partner site. So let's crack on. So during the webinar, I will cover three main topics. Printing in public spaces, which I really do like, scanning to email, the Canon driver improvement, and I believe that these topics is more interest to the audience today, which is a sales audience. After that, I will touch on various improvements, including the discontinuation of uniFLOW Online Express, limitations for devices without subscription, and two scanning improvements, and the long-awaited budget widget improvements. So let's start with the topic of printing in public spaces. Now, some of you may or may not be too familiar with this particular type of service, but I've used it in the past, and maybe some of you have. When the printer at home has run out of toner, or I've forgotten to get some paper and I need to print that all-important confidential document, I pop along to my local library, which has a public printing service. I have to queue and wait to see if there's a PC available, which there normally is. It's open, it's already logged on. I insert my USB stick into the PC and open my document and ready to print. But before doing that, I have to pay at reception for the privilege of printing. And once I've submitted the job, I have to wait for the job to be released, because there's other people printing. And because I work in the industry, I take a little sneak behind the reception and find there's loads of print jobs sitting on the printer, which probably one of them is mine. So my confidential print job is probably no longer confidential, as other staff have viewed it. And yeah, there the story unfolds. So let's explore how some of these issues that I've mentioned are addressed in the new release of uniFLOW Online 2024.2. Now, as I said, while providing printing services in places like the universities, the libraries, the town halls, etc., it can be obviously of great benefit to visitors, but there are several hurdles that IT departments must address. Now, public PCs are often shared by multiple users, so ensuring data privacy and preventing unauthorized access to sensitive documents, it becomes quite critical. IT within these establishments have absolutely no choice now, especially nowadays, but to implement robust authentication mechanisms to verify users' identities before allowing them to print. User registration is challenging because it must strike that right balance between ease and security. The process should be seamless, allowing registration from any email address outside of the establishment's infrastructure, whilst ensuring robust security measures are in place. I'm kind of leading into this is the way how our public printing service is working. So, how do people register? It's very easy. So first and foremost, to connect to the registration website, the user simply scans the QR code made publicly available. Now, they need to enter their email address, which is an email address obviously not known to the establishment, and agree to the terms and conditions that have been uploaded. They have to look at that, agree to it before they can continue. Then they log on to uniFLOW Online. And then they will have to log into the device to get the code, which will then be sent to them via email. Now, to identify and print, then the users need to follow these very easy steps. A pop-up will appear on the PC screen, prompting users to enter their email address or card number to identify themselves. After successful submission, users can retrieve their print job at the device by entering the PIN or maybe a card number. So if you remember in my last example of printing in a public place, the printer was in the reception and it had other print jobs on it. Obviously, we have a fantastic secure print environment. Logging on to a public available device, ensuring that none of the print jobs from other users, including my own, will be available until I'm ready to release it. So that's nailed that particular issues. Now, users who enter an invalid email address or card number will be notified of the error through this pop-up. So basically, the process enhances security by ensuring only authorized individuals can retrieve print jobs and provides that convenience by streamlining that printing process. So, burning question, how do I charge for these services? Well, suppose your customer decides to implement the new public printing facility, but they want to streamline the pay for print aspect of the service. Remember, I had to go to reception, hand over coins or get my credit card out, and it was quite a labored process. Now, if that's the case, it's easy with uniFLOW Online, as the administrator can activate the budgeting feature to enable charging for public printing services. Fantastic. Now, as you already know, uniFLOW Online offers a range of payment providers, allowing public users now to easily top up their budget through the self-service budgeting widget, negating ever to have to speak to reception and hand over cash or long-winded processes of using their card. So fantastic. So to wrap up this section, public printing with uniFLOW Online offers several benefits. Print services can now be easily provided in a public area with any PC available, set up as a terminal for all users to print. It's easy for IT because for them, it's a quick and easy implementation, and it's easy to maintain the service. The facilities can charge for it, so it can be a profit center. For users, it's easy to use and requires no additional training. So if you have these types of environments that I've mentioned, why not have a conversation? Maybe use my example of that manual process to see if there is somewhere where you can find an opportunity to talk about and introduce this new facility. So moving on to scan to email improvement. Now, email is the most widely used business application globally. I think we all know this. And then in terms of scan to email within uniFLOW Online, it is the most popular method of scanning. If you attended my scanning webinar a week or so ago, I went through some of those different methods which are popular for scanning, and email scanning is one of them. Now, you may or may not be aware, but uniFLOW Online offers various email scan functions, including scan to myself, exchange, or using a fixed email address. Now, with the latest release, users can conveniently scan to any email address and directly from the device. Let's explore a little further. So, the user can easily scan and send files to any email address by using the internal uniFLOW Online infrastructure, which allows scans to be sent directly from the device UI via uniFLOW Online. Okay, so it's a nice in-house, if you like, scanning environment. Now, the sending users will be from the tenant domain address. So something like Andrew at the customer tenant domain name that was set up. And sending users can be added to the BCC as proof of sending this particular scan. The user can choose to send the documents as an attachment or a download link. This is typically set up in the configuration by the tenant administrator. It's worth noting that this feature is only available for the modern UI. So the user can scan to email to internal users that are in the list of, if you like, identities for uniFLOW Online by selecting from an internal address book consisting of users within the customer tenant. For users' convenience, the scan to recently used email addresses, a nice mouthful there, feature allows quick access to the last 5 email addresses that were used. So again, in terms of saving time at the actual device, productivity, if there are some consistent email addresses that this user particularly sends to all the time, at least the 5 of them will be already available. So from an IT perspective, the tenant administrator has full control over the settings shown on the slide. For example, such as allowing only sending to internal addresses, configuring a list of allowed domains, and also determining whether a file or a download link, as I mentioned before, is actually sent with the scan. So I believe it's a nice, straightforward with the UI design, which enables fast and easy office workflows without the need of an additional email infrastructure, if that's what the customer wants. And yeah, basically uniFLOW Online manages it all. Okay, so let's look at how easy it is to customize the Canon driver based on location to suit the devices available in terms of the services that are configured on that device. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Canon generic driver, profiles can be created for the device configuration and printing defaults. The profiles can be saved and imported into uniFLOW Online, enabling each location to have its own device profile printing defaults for secure printing using the actual driver, which is fantastic. Now, customers now have a better control over devices with various configurations, as the need for specific printing functions may differ depending on the location. So, for example, devices in the head office may have a saddle, stitch finisher, or some form of inserter, but the configurations maybe in the smaller satellite offices may have none of these options. Basically a nice lean, if you like, device configuration. So now IT can position the appropriate printer defaults per location based on the actual devices in that location. Thumbs up on that one. So let's have a quick look and see some of these improvements. In terms of the uniFLOW Online Express tenant, it's been discontinued. The Express tenant creation button, for those of you who have set it up before, will be removed, and only uniFLOW Online tenants can be created. Functionality-wise, authentication and accounting are free of charge for connected devices as the base offering for uniFLOW Online. Now, support for uniFLOW Online Express will continue until July 2029. So for those that you have customers with this particular offering, it's just good to know. Okay. Devices without subscription. What does that all mean? Well, with this release, devices without subscription will have limited functionality. Only device login and accounting will be available, and Scan to Myself or Scan to Google will no longer be accessible. However, for tenants created before 2024.2, the availability of Scan to Google Drive and Scan to Myself will be maintained and respected. Again, just to keep that in mind. So just to talk about now some improvements around SharePoint. SharePoint can be configured to require mandatory metadata input. Now, in the past, these fields were validated during the scanning to the SharePoint environment, and the user had to enter the required data correctly to complete the scan. Now, a new option to hide the metadata fields in the Scan to SharePoint scan profile is now available. So consequently, the metadata needs to be added in the SharePoint Online environment after the uploading of the file. So now there is a choice: enter it at the device or hide the metadata entry and do all the funky stuff at the SharePoint Online end. Now, keeping with the SharePoint world, a new Scan to SharePoint Online scan profile are available for the eULM devices, for the image runner, image class, and iSenses. So yeah, another additional load of different devices now can have that Scan to SharePoint experience for users. Okay, just talking about budgeting widgets now. When budgeting is enabled, the user's dashboard will automatically include now the My Budget and the My Budget Activity widgets. For those of you that don't know, when the budget if you like, enforcement was enabled, the user had to add these two widgets manually to their dashboard. Now, these widgets allows the students to easily manage their budgets and view and add funds without manually adding these widgets to their dashboard, which is fantastic. As I said, they had to do that manually in the previous versions. It's important to note that removing the budget enforcement will not remove the widgets, and users with a default dashboard that was created before the budget extension was added will not be modified. Small little technical things there, but it was worth just mentioning that there is some limitations there. Okay, with regards to the mobile app, you can now easily access budgeting information directly from the mobile phone. You can view the primary, secondary, and total wallets as well as the transactions, which is great. End users benefit from a consistent overview as the information provided via the mobile app is aligned with what they see and is displayed on their user dashboard when they log into uniFLOW Online. So a great improvement there. Now, we've come to the end. I do thank you for your attention. It was a quick walkthrough, but as I said at the beginning of the webinar, all of the information is now on the partner site. Please feel free to download, look at some of these new improvements and the features for 2024.2, and happy selling until the next release. Thank you.